call, please, Mr. Clerk.
Council members: Brown.
Here.
Reeves.
Here.
Storch. Absent on roll call, which should be available via
Phone.
telephone shortly. Councilwoman Taylor.
Here.
Councilman Williams. Absent on roll call. Chairman Reed.
Here.
And Council President Rivers is absent on roll call.
Thank you.
No quorum.
Number 3 on the agenda is precedent to request the clerk to read the call for the meeting. It's a special meeting, so we have to have a call. Please.
Correct. Pursuant to Article 2, Section 2:2-10A of the Administrative Code in the City of Plainfield, 1971. A special meeting is hereby called by the Plainfield City Council on Tuesday, May 20th, 2014, Tuesday, May 27th, 2014 at 8 p.m. in the City Hall Library, 515 Watchung Avenue, City of Plainfield, for the purpose of considering and acting upon the following: possible amendments to the calendar year 2014 Plainfield Municipal Operating Budget, and possible hearing on budget amendments and possible final adoption of the calendar year 2014 Plainfield Municipal Operating Budget. Formal action may be taken by order of the Plainfield Municipal Council, and this was dated May 15th, 2014.
Thank you, sir. Number 4 on the agenda is public comments, which are limited to the resolution and/or ordinance that may be on the agenda. The public comment section is now open. I don't need a resolution.
Council President, I'm sorry, it's hard for me to walk. Will there be a public comment section after the resolutions and ordinances? It's not on the agenda.
No, it will not be, according to our attorney and clerk.
Harold, you put to go, but that doesn't matter. I think you can hear me. Yeah. Well, before I make my comment, I have a question about the potential legality of this meeting. The city charter says that at least 2 days public notice must be given, and the public legal notices did not appear in the paper until today. So my question is, are your proceedings going to be binding and legal or not? If they're not going to be, I don't see any reason for me to make any comments.
I turn that over to our council who can answer that.
Mr. Chairman, the only thing that's required is that transmittal be made 48 hours in advance, which was done according to the special meeting notice. Transmittal was made to the Star Ledger on May 16th.
And the Courier News.
Actually, the Courier News. So the meeting is legal and can go forward.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, my only comment is there's been a great many reductions in the expenses and the salaries, especially on all the new appointments that the mayor has made. And I am just wondering if the members of this council, in their eagerness to save money, have considered the impact upon the city's well-being, its growth, and the citizens who live in the community. Well, thank you.
Thank you. If I may just respond a second. I have considered it, and the problem I have, of course, is the taxes that we are now paying and the taxes we will be paying. And I'm saying that we just can't afford some of the positions that we'd be suggesting that be eliminated from our budget tonight. I would imagine anyone that would like to pay more taxes above what come out to be the taxes can come down to City Hall and say, here's my contribution, making sure that the city is run correctly. Any other person would like to speak to us tonight? Yes, Mrs.
Yes, sir. Donnie Guggenkow, 414 Randolph Road. And you...
We will allow Mrs. Cooper to have a seat because she's not in the best of health.
It's on, if you say so. I don't hear it, but that's all right, as long as you do. Can you tell us specifically what positions you plan to cut from from the mayor's proposed budget and what the actual tax impact would be.
We have to go with each amendment, each item on the budget as we go through, and we will comment as we get to any cuts that we're making. Is that okay?
No, I was asking for specifics.
We will give you specifics on each position when we get to it.
Can we comment on that?
Well, you can comment, yes. Right now, on
Well,
resolution.
I mean, when we know what specific positions you plan to cut, will we be able to comment on that?
No,
See,
not
there's-
as we go through the meeting, you will not be able to. You can comment now. on it.
It's hard to comment on
Well, let
whether
me
or not
answer
you
it.
should cut a position if you won't tell us what positions you plan to cut.
Mr. Chairman, if I can make a call for some
Yes.
assistance. The council tonight has, through its amendment process, does not cut positions. It merely reduces lines within certain budgets, but it does not have the authority to cut any positions specifically. After the budget is adopted, it will be incumbent upon the administration to work within the confines of that budget. But there will be no naming of any positions tonight, because that is not the call, that is not the authority of the council.
The other part of my question,
Sure.
the other part of my question was, what impact would each of these proposed budgets, the mayor's proposed budget and the council amendments, have on the tax rate?
As I understand it, that will be worked out once we go to the state. The last number that I saw, it will be reduced somewhat if we cut this budget. It's the council's budget, and they're presenting it and saying, this is the money that we would like to get from our citizens to operate the city. And the mayor and the administration must decide how to do that efficiently, as we've done over the last 4 or 5 years.
To continue, if the budget as presented is passed, what would be the impact on the tax rate?
I don't know, it'll be reduced, I know that.
Now, if the budget as presented by the mayor,
Can you answer that question, please? It's not a question for us, I'm sorry. Sorry I'm late, I got some little ones out there, and my oldest is 21, but I'm taking over for some little ones.
The CFO.
Okay.
No, he's the CFO. I actually have it on page.
The proposed budget was $101.96.
Excuse me, 1 second.
President is here, and she will take over for us.
Mr. Welch?
The budget, as the amended budget that administration has been coming forth with of late is $101.96. The budget on the table this evening is at $94.84 annually, per average $113,000 household for assessed value of a house.
so you're dealing with a minimal decrease from what was proposed.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any more people that like to speak to us before we get started? Yes, take a seat up front. Thank you.
Lillian DeMar, Plainfield, New Jersey, 135 Carlisle Terrace. I'm here in support of the mayor getting the funds he needs to run the city. He's going to be a mayor for all people, but he has to have money. A part-time mayor can't do the full responsibility of the city and the people in it. The people put him in there, and it's up to this council to see that he has help doing his job. He cannot do it by himself, and he does need the funds. And I hope that you will take it into consideration. Taxes are going to be raised, not only by the mayor, but by the governor too, because he wants us to pay for his tricks with the George Washington Bridge. So I hope that you will consider trying to help this mayor. We can do bad, he can do bad by himself, he don't need you to help him. So please consider him. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Storch, just short. Councilman Storch?
I'm finally not in it.
Good.
Okay, we're in the process of public comments right now.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Alan Goldston, 939 Madison Avenue. Before I begin, just as a matter of disclosure, I want to say that, because I'm going to mention a portion of this, for the last 4 years, I've been the treasurer of the Board of Trustees of the King's Daughters Day School. But I'd like to really comment on the CBAC report and go over a couple of items in there. Now, not in this CBAC, but in all the other ones for the last 4 or 5 years, there's been talk about bilingual daycare and how it's extraneous to the operations of the city. There is most of that being paid for by grants, but there's also an out-of-pocket expense on the part of the city. And this service can easily be, again, I'm not speaking on behalf of the board or the school, but this service could be provided by having the 6 or 9 kids or so melded into the 14 or 15 other daycare providers in the city. But to get to the CBAC report, they noted, as every CBAC report for the last 4 or 5 years has, how top-heavy the police and fire department is. In this budget, there's about, between the two of them, $1.3 million in overtime. And I've heard Director Helwig in the past talking about how that's a problem. The CBAC also noted how top-heavy public works seem to be. So there seems to be ample fat in the budget to pay for some of the initiatives that the original mayoral budget had recommended. In the section on recreation, and I think this is something to consider, the CBAC noted here, and I'm quoting, many residents would be willing to pay more for a better product. And I think it's important that the better product be the government as a whole, not just simply, another, sports outing or whatever is going on over there. And I think that you have to consider that in the greater context of what type of municipal government we are able to offer. In economic development, it notes increase of council oversight as well as the importance of prospecting in the area of shared services. Under the mayoral section, as far as the chief of staff goes, and this is a quote from the CBAC report, it is unclear what unique job the COS adds to the city. Well, I'll say that if you look at the description of this position, which was voted on 6-0 back in November by the city council, and most of you were on the city council then, that this description is to assist in the creation and implementation of policies and goals in the city, and to direct intergovernmental relations, including shared services and grant opportunities, to coordinate communication between the administration and council. Now, one of the portions of the CBAC report is that they recommend that there be a grant writer in the city retired. Now, it seems to me that, you can't just get one grant writer who can write grants for every particular purpose. You have to have a variety of people who know the divisions and know that sort of stuff. But you need somebody to coordinate it, and this is made even more important in my experience by grants that sit for years and years and nothing is done with them, as well as, was that my time or was that just a cell phone?
I'm sorry.
Okay. You need somebody to coordinate it. You know, I saw a $270,000 grant that was pretty much wasted away, and of which we had to return to the state $80,000, $90,000 because of all the juggling that was going on, while the rest of it was turned into profits for a former city council member. Coordinating communication between the administration and council is one of the recommendations of the CBAC. I mean, it was part of the job description, but better communication between the administration and the council is noted as an important aspect in their report. And I think that that is exactly where the chief of staff position is aimed at. I mean, it seems to me that there are a lot of initiatives that we're going to be passing up on because of this. I recommended in conversations I've had with the mayor. May I just get another minute or so to continue here, if I may?
Motion to give him another 2 minutes.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you very much. I've spoken with the city council president in the past, the mayor. I've spoken with Councilwoman Williams about the importance of a grant status report. What I would like to see the chief of staff do is get this organized so that everybody on the council as well as in the public can see what grants we're applying for, what grants we're getting, how they're being spent, what the time limitations are, and such and such. I think there's some question that people will not be fully up to snuff, and we need to reevaluate these things. We need empirical data, as the CBAC noted. I've recommended in the same instance that you have another departmental hearing, not a budget hearing, but a hearing perhaps 6 months after you pass the budget to evaluate what's been going on so that it doesn't just come up. And one more thing, this is just two. The other night, there was an NAACP forum. Now, I made a point about the question of nonpartisanship and such. But in that same section, it says here, and this is just very short, that one of the obligations or the actions of these units should be to work for the enactment of municipal, state, and federal legislation designed to improve the educational, political, and economic status of minority groups. And I think all of us are a minority in some sort or another, and I think that it behooves you not to pull the plug on these initiatives,
Thank you.
which is
Mr.
dedicated
Goldston.
to moving that forward.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very
Goldston.
much.
Anyone for privilege of the floor?
No, please, go ahead.
I just, Bernice Pagley, 124 East 7th Street. Alan reminded me of something. There was a very large amount of money that Senator Frank Lautenberg obtained for the city. And it was to put a senior center in the basement of Teppers. Seniors didn't want to be in the basement of Teppers, but the grant had to go with the building. So many years passed, and at the very last minute, before it expired, a whole lot of work got done, which yielded what former city administrator Mark DeShield called a plain vanilla box, which to this day has no use. So I do believe there is a necessity to look at these grants somehow. I mean, in this day and age with a computer, you can tell them they're going to run out. You don't wait till the last minutes and get a contractor to do 4 years' worth of work in 3 months and then have something that's unusable. So I do believe that that particular need must be considered going forward.
Thank you.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for having me. My name is Mario Camino. I'm the president and owner of the Arctic Group, a real estate development and investment company. We are actually in the process of moving into town, both for business and my residence. My biggest fear is happening. When I came into town a year ago, the number one, well, multiple issues, but one of the biggest walls from outsiders, that is, was the political ambiance in town. Luckily, I believe that I came into this town at a good time. Change of guards, new faces, new spirits, new. And one of the biggest, I guess, influences that I had in making my decision as to, and when I say me, I'm behind, there's another 10 people behind me, 2 or 3 companies that are moving into town with me. When I made this decision, one of the biggest influential things that took place was the fact that now we had a chief of economic development. Now, I'm coming to you not from a political...
I'm sorry, sir. Are you speaking in reference to resolutions?
I'm speaking in reference to what's happening tonight, ma'am. Yes. I'm coming to you as a business owner. I'm coming to you with no political...
Excuse me. I understand you're speaking on behalf of what's... Are you speaking on behalf of a particular item on this agenda?
The budget.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm new with this, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'm new in town. And I'm trying to figure out my ways around here, but I'm having a hard time doing it. And like I said, I have no political affiliations with anyone. I like to be friends with absolutely everybody. I believe that everyone works together. We get to that place a little bit faster than if not. That being said, in my line of business, the way we do things are not, they're gambles, as you guys know. We buy rundown buildings and we turn them into something beautiful. Now, this can be done just about anywhere. And as you guys know, Plainfield isn't necessarily at the top of the list of people that do what I do. I took a huge gamble on Plainfield, but one of the best things that happened was having somebody by my side. Now, when I first came to town, I came to town with no one on my side. No mayor, no, absolutely no one. I mean, Bernice is one of the biggest guys I had around here. And the point is, it wasn't until that department, the Chief of Economic Development Department was instated, that it gave me personally the confidence to take this thing to the next level. Now, that being said, we do, and please understand this, the way this works is through private equity. In other words, in order for me to buy any building or do any type of investment in town, I am pulling money from every direction, including my own. So it's not just my gap. There's usually 5 to 10 investors per building. Now, that being said, I have to sell these people on how good Plainfield is. And needless to say, gentlemen and ladies, it's not an easy task. Quick example, and I'm going to wrap up with this. I'm in the process of buying 101 West 7th, the big, blue, ugly building in the corner of Park Avenue and 7th Street. Now, we all know it. It's been there for years. There's entire families living in that building. That being said, raising capital for this investment this is, just so you guys know, and I don't know if I should get into the specifics, but I am. This is a $2 million investment we're making between purchasing and renovating the entire building. The only way that I was able to actually get this money together was by bringing some type of security to the people that are willing to take this plunge with me. And how did I do that? It was actually very simple, a lot simpler than I thought. It was a, hello, this is the Chief of Economic Development. Hello, this is my investor. We're all friends. We're doing great things in town. Let's do this. I have a commitment for $2 million to start that project in 3 months. That's what economic development is about on my end. I mean, it does many other things, but from a developer standpoint, I can't do this without a guy handling those things for me. I'm not confident in the city to take on these buildings if I don't have a good support system behind me. Please, we got momentum. We got a good thing going. Queen City Revival, I mean, Plainfield is hot again. People are buying, people are renovating, buildings are going up. Please, don't mess this up. Let's not go backwards. Let's move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Patricia Collins, 726 Sheridan Avenue. Hopefully I'm not off the agenda, but I just wanted to let the council know that I am the COO of Best Kept Secrets Entertainment here in Plainfield. And last week, a proposal was presented for us to be a consultant regarding the parade.
Patricia, I'm going to give you a chance at the end of the meeting.
Okay, all right.
Good evening, everyone. Richard Stewart, 1171 Gresham Road. I just have one question and one point. A lot's been made about the difference between the proposed budget tax increase of $100 and odd, I think $10, and the revised proposed budget, which is increased, which decreased to $90 odd. But there wasn't enough discussion on the surplus there. So I believe the proposed budget, I think we currently have, and the figures can be corrected by somebody who has the exact figures, but I think the city has $5 million in surplus currently, and the proposed budget by map would reduce it to, I believe, $700,000. And then the revised budget, the surplus, again, is back to $5 million, and I think it reduces to $3 million or something like that. But I would like someone who has more knowledge about that. What's an average city surplus supposed to be? Is $700,000 sufficient to run the city if there's emergencies or anything like that? And is $5 million too much? And I think the difference could, explains the value between the $10 difference. Because the $10 difference, I'm sure everyone in this room would pay $10 to get everything done. But I think more discussion needs to be had about whether everyone in this room feels comfortable sitting on $700,000 for a city throughout the year. And that's probably until it builds up again. So it would be nice to get a little bit more discussion on the surplus difference. And as the fellow resident mentioned, that we don't know exactly how the cuts were provided, but again, I would encourage that it not be an all or nothing type scenario where all the new hires are eliminated or all the new hires are hired. And I hope that discussion is made about what can be spared and what can't be spared. That way, both sides of the fence can feel comfortable at the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I comment?
Yes.
Moody's guidelines are 5% of the budget. For highly rated municipal operation, 5% of the budget in surplus.
So what is that?
So if you have $75 million, so it'll be about $3.5 million in
So
surplus.
that's what we say.
Right. Okay. So is the $700,000 left in the surplus for the proposed budget? Is that fiscally sound?
Well, again, there's arguments to be made about it, surplus regeneration and everything, but if you're looking at it from a Moody's standpoint, or Standard & Poor's or whatever, if they're looking for us to have about $3.5 million and we have $700,000, the answer would be no.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam President, council members, residents of the city of Plainfield. My name is Yusuf Muhammad. I'm a member of CBAC, Citizens Budget Advisory Committee. I'm a member of Plainfield Local Organizing Committee. Pretty much academic. I just want to go over some things. We seem to have amnesia. We've had our recommendation by CBAC. We've had our recommendation by our consultant firm, and we seem to be down this road again and again and again. At some point, we have to make a decision. I am highly in favor of what the council did. I wish it could have been a whole lot more, quite frankly speaking. And with the expertise that we have in our administration, with qualified people that we have, I'm sure that they can do an ample and a very good job with the help of the citizens in the city of Plainfield. But we have to take into consideration all of Plainfield, not just a few people that are concerned about doing their little projects in their interests and want it just their way. It's just not that simple. And I think, and I like to applaud the council for being strong and not being swayed, and not bending to have to dignify reason, look for permission or approval to make a professional final decision on what must be done for the city of Plainfield. These are tough times. And yes, Plainfield, according to Moody, we are at investment rating. Our bond rating is good. We are at investment level. You know, so it's not as bad as it seems. And business is going to happen there regardless. Now, I think we got business people, but people talk about politics, you know, being played. And this is all political. I'm seeing a whole lot of political stuff, you know, and I'm hearing a whole lot of political stuff come to this microphone. But we like to, you know, say what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. We like to call, you know, say this pot is, you know, just like the kettle calling it pot black. I mean, it's just, well, you know, you can't have cake, your cake and eat it too. So, I mean, we have to make a decision. We have to be strong in regards to what's going on in the city of Plainfield. And I think that you've made a very wise choice as far as budget is concerned. Again, I'd just like to reiterate that I think there's a whole lot more that we could have done and maybe we should do in the near future. So I'd like to applaud and thank the council and wish us much success. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Michelle, 14 Kennedy Green Avenue, Plainfield. I would just like to ask a question. It sounds as though you've already made up your mind. I mean, Mr. Mohammed Savian said thank you for being strong, and this is my impression. Have you already made up your mind? Do you already know what you're doing? In which case, then I don't waste everybody's time. But is there going to be a discussion? Are you going to have an open mind? Are you going to look at the fact that the surplus will be added to, that it's only $6 more for a full complement as opposed to no complements? And also, it is, I don't believe it's responsible for a council to just cut without having options. If you decide to cut, and I'm assuming that you're still going to have discussions because you haven't decided, but if you do decide to cut, you can't just say, we're taking the money out. There are people in this city who need jobs. There's people in this city who need to have this a viable city. And if you don't allow the administration their vision, then that says to me that you have another one and that you will come to the table saying, we believe this is the way you can do it. And you can't just say no without having some sort of solution. That just isn't the way things are. So, first of all, I would like to know if you have already made up your mind, because it sounds to me as though you have. And if not, then whatever your decision is, will you also have a solution? Will you speak with the administration? Will you talk to them and say, you know, we're cutting this, but this is what we suggest in its place?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else for privilege of the floor? Yes, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Sharon Robinson Briggs, 216 Pemberton Avenue, Plainfield, New Jersey, former mayor of this great city. Good evening to our council members and members of administration, Plainfielders and friends of Plainfield. It's a pleasure and an honor and privilege to be before you tonight. I want to camp on to what Mr. Muhammad said in thanking you for the time that you have taken to review thoroughly the budget, as we know that you have not made a determination yet. I thank you for listening to everyone who has come before you. It's very difficult, I know, to hear the many viewpoints. I have to again add mine, and that is, as the former mayor, I have to say that the gentleman who was Mr. Mapp, who was the former 3rd Ward councilman, who was also this body's Finance Committee chairperson, made an awful lot of recommendations in lowering my budget as former mayor and with my administration. There were an awful lot of things that he brought to this table and to this body and to this community saying that the city of Plainfield could do without. For instance, we had a IT/media division, and if you recall, a couple of years ago, we had one gentleman, Mr. Lawrence Rice, who was our only media person at a certain rate. Mr. Mack suggested that we get rid of him and to outsource that service, and it actually ended up costing the city more money. And then we combined IT and media, and now I see that, it was proposed to be separated and add another salary, which was more to the budget. We had been told for a couple of years that we didn't need a recreation division head. And then suddenly, a couple of months into this new administration, we need it. And so there are a lot of different things that I don't understand why the difference between just months, last year, the year before, to this year, things that Mr. Mapp himself said that we don't need and didn't need, and now he's asking for it in a budget. So I'm glad that you all are reviewing, because we want to be fair. I know that everyone in the city of Plainfield and outside of Plainfield need a job. But the bottom line is here that we're not really talking about people, we're talking about positions. Do we need to have a lot of positions added to the budget that really just escalates, blows up our budget, costs the taxpayers more money, and are these political payoffs? Some of these folks were on the transition team. When I had my transition team, nobody expected a job. People were proud to come out and to serve this community by way of a transition team, just to help move us forward and to motivate us to be positive and to do good things for the people in Plainfield. So I thank you very much for your consideration. I pray that you all will make a vote that will be fair to everyone, to all of our residents. And I think that you all have been very supportive of this administration. You have voted for a lot of things for this administration. And so this administration, you all are not a rubber stamp. They cannot just simply expect that you are going to just say yes to everything that is asked for. You're here to review things, you're doing governance, policy for the city of Plainfield, and that's your role. So again, I thank you so very, very much. Who's on the phone? Is that Councilwoman Rebecca Williams?
No,
Oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry she isn't here tonight. I really wanted to address something. But I will also say with regard to the budget.
Guys, we have someone speaking. Let's give respect.
Thank you so much. With regard to the budget, and I apologize for speaking on behalf of a gentleman who is here who I haven't had a chance to speak to about it, but for instance, we have a gentleman here, Mr. Roland Crawford, who for many years, prior to me becoming mayor of this great city, worked in the recreation division. He's a mentor down there in the 4th Ward. He has done a lot of great things with our young people, been a coach with the baseball teams, and just overall a good person. And I would ask that you please look at your budget and see if there is funding to bring such a person back to the budget. It wasn't much because he was a provisional, part-time, and it wasn't the money, it was about what he offered to that portion of our community. He was stationed down at the Hannah Atkins Playground. There's also a young lady. May I please have 30 seconds more? That's all I need.
Motion extended. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you so much. I'll speed this up and say there's a lady in Plainfield Action Services who actually did some of the work for the former director of Administration, Finance, Health, and Social Services. Her name is Carolina. She got a raise, and I've noticed that this year her raise is not put in the budget. Please take a look at that and see if there is something that can be done for that young lady who does a lot of work for the city of Plainfield, if you so desire. But again, I thank you very, very much. And I'll meet Ms. Williams outside of here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like that, or?
You have to close there.
I have money.
Yeah.
Roland Mohammed, North Avenue, Plainfield, New Jersey. You know, I just wanted to come up and just say a few words, you know, I guess it's hard to just say a few words when it comes to the new administration. You know, when our mayor come up here to say something, we are so disrespectful. You know, I say to the Plainfield gossip columns in the paper, as long as you spell my name right, I'm good. I'm not running for office. I'm going to say whatever I want to say, to whom I want to say it to. I will never compromise. I will never back down. And I've been in opposition to what Matt's trying to do. All these promises, he want to raise up the budget. Like the mayor said, I was here when he fought her tooth and nail. Didn't he want her to have a cat? Didn't want her to have nothing. And I'm very surprised. I looked at Michelle, you were there. Now you with this administration. But you seem to try to defend the former one. You know, I'm just looking. I've been hearing, I have not been making the meetings, but I plan on being back here, and we thank the kids that will not compromise. Come on, just a few dollars. I think we pay enough taxes. I want to know where my money's going to. You want to raise up taxes for promises that he made? I don't agree with that. Thank you. Stand up. Be counted. Don't back down. Just say no. Just like he did everything that was asked for, he said no. And fought it. So that's what we have to do. We can't compromise. We will not compromise. I thank you for my few words as the whispering and going on to my left. But if anyone wants to talk to me, we could definitely talk. We could sit down and get sharp with one another. I don't have a problem with that. Thank you.
Rashida Gulhar, 1270 Park. And just a suggestion I have, that if the people could sit in this chair, then the camera would be able to see their face rather than just focusing on the back of their head.
That's all.
Any more for privilege of the floor? Seeing none, can I have a motion to close privilege of the floor?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay.
Okay, Resolution 208-14, which is a resolution authorizing amendments to the Plainfield calendar year 2014 municipal operating budget.
All the officers
We will read, the from is the introduced budget, and the to is the amendments that the council will have an opportunity to vote on.
student officers, the following
Yeah. Now, anticipated revenue, I'll start first, is the surface anticipated, total surface anticipated. Surplus, rather, I'm sorry. Is from 4,900,000 and is reduced to 3,900,000. And I understand we have to vote on each one of these? Okay.
All those in favor?
We need a
Can I have a
second.
second, please? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Okay. Item number 3, miscellaneous revenue, section 8, local revenues, FEMA Hurricane Sandy, from $125,000 to $589,422.30.
Can I get a second? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Total section 8, local revenue, $5,426,380 to $5,890,802.30.
Get a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Number 3, continuing, miscellaneous revenue, section B, state aid without offsetting appropriations, consolidated municipal property tax release aid, energy receipt taxes. First number is $2,079,813. 097 rather. Press the number backwards. Down to $2,053,754.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, the energy receipts tax, $5,680,186 to $5,724,245.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
We go to section F, special items of general revenue anticipated without prior written consent of the Director of Local Government Services, public and private revenue offset with appropriations, community service block grant is from zero in the introduced budget to $65,174.
Can I get a second? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, body armor replacement fund, from zero to $16,939.77.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Union County Art Grant, from zero to $2,400.
Can I get a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Kids Recreational Trust, from zero to $88,000. Need a second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
New Jersey Department of Transportation, 2013 municipal aid, from zero to $240,460.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Child Care Food Program, from zero to $72,550.08.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Total Section F, special items of revenue anticipated without prior written consent of Director of Local Government Services, public and private, from $89,665 to $535,188.85. Is that correct?
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, I go to the summary of the revenues. 1, surplus anticipated from $4,900,000 to $3,900,000.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, we go to,
Wait, is it
yeah,
on? Okay, go ahead.
okay, total section A, local revenues, 5,000,000, from 5,426,380 to 5,000,008.
Okay. Going to the next page. I was just informed that the summaries we do not have to vote on. Is that correct? Okay, so turn to the next. Yeah.
Colleagues, before we go into this section, item by item, could we get, this is a different list of appropriation changes than the Finance Committee looked at last week. Could we have somebody just explain what happened, what's represented in these changes?
As we call each one, I guess we can do
We
it.
do it one by one, that's fine.
Now, they say I don't have to do this, but I see some.
You don't have to, so we don't go to the next page.
Okay. We go into the appropriation, meaning what we're spending. The first item is operating within the caps. Office of the Mayor.
So he said you guys didn't discuss this, Office of the Mayor?
We discussed most of these items, but I'm saying that some of them changed. I just want to understand which ones changed, what happened. I don't know if this one is one of them.
Yeah, the Office of the Mayor, from 193,480 to 147,480. And that was a recommendation that we remove the Chief of Staff. And I think we discussed that last, and this represents a half-year salary. as I understand.
This one did not change from the Finance Committee.
Okay.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Comment.
So I've been hearing a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but some people say, we treated the last mayor badly. I even heard one person say, just say no, because people said no in the past. That's a personal thing, that's being stuck in the past. I think that we have to look forward. I think that the people who said that the last mayor was treated unfairly, I think we have to put it in perspective and deal with facts and not just these really distorted comments. Because what happened was, this is a different position. The previous mayor had, I think that position was called confidential aid. This position is a higher paid position. But that position in the previous administration was in place for, I'm going to say, most of the term. I think it was either last year or maybe the last 2 years, that position was removed. So now we're talking about removing a similar position, albeit higher paid, we were talking about it in the first 4 months. Not, as opposed to the first 6 years. So I think we have to put this in perspective and understand that if we're just going to be about getting retribution for the past, it's going to hold the city back. So I think, I'm not done yet.
You're not done yet? Go ahead.
I'm not going to take as long as you do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So this position is part of an overall proposal that includes it's a reduction in the total expense. Some people are saying that the budget went up. The budget actually went down, I think, $1.6 million. The problem is, taxes still went up. Let's look at why taxes went up. They didn't go up because we increased the budget. They went up because we lost ratables. The only way to address that, and this is not a one-year thing, the only way to address it is to make an investment. We have to get ratables back. We have to get business ratables back, as well as residential ratables. Otherwise, those of us that are paying are going to pay a bigger burden. So, yeah, we could cut these positions this year and then continue to get no ratables if we don't have enough staff to do the work. So what's going to happen? Next year, we're going to come back and we're going to have the same discussion. Taxes went up. Why did they go up? We still didn't get the ratables. And at some point in the near future, we're not going to be talking about cutting the mayor's budget. We're going to be talking about cutting police and fire. We don't want to be there. We're going to have to look to the future, not the past. So I urge my colleagues to support these positions. Now, I also want to say that in the Finance Committee, we talked about this. I'll save my comments for later. That's
Okay.
okay.
It's been moved in second. You got a comment? Yes, Mrs.
I
Taylor.
want to differ with my colleague because the discussion in the Finance Committee was not about paying anybody back or any retribution or anything like that. And those kinds of remarks that the citizens make were made from their perspective, and there are a number of people who have different perspectives. But for us, I do believe that we have to make sound decisions based on wherever there are tax increases, whether it's because we don't have ratables, that's a fact that has been like that. And I do believe that the administration and the council is looking towards the future to do that, to deal with increasing the ratables and working in economic development as an area. And I believe we are doing that. And so I do not agree, but we have to deal with the reality. I have been talking to residents and they said, please hold fast to not increasing the taxes like this. Whether it's $10, $100, $500, it's just that they do not want the taxes increased like this. Particularly when we do not necessarily have to have that kind of high-level administrative oversight when we have this already in the mayor's office as well as in the city administrator's office. And I think that this is not, if I had been here, I would not have voted for this. I do not feel that we need to have this position or that we need to have that sort of overload of administrative assistance at that level. This is a part-time mayor, that's true. There were other mayors who did the same thing, and they had a city administrator, and that is all they had. And I think that, yes, we're moving towards the future. As we move towards the future and we see a need to do things, then we begin to change that. But right now, these are hard times. We do not have the ratables, that is correct. We are on the backs of the public, and they are tired of it. So other folk have agendas because they're whatever, they're on whatever side. But we're talking about what's good for the residents and for the taxpayers. And I do agree we have to increase the ratables, and I believe we're going to do that. And I believe that the administration is trying to do that, and I think the council is. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, just for Mrs. Williams, she just entered.
Can we have a vote, please? Was there a second?
Can I just say?
Yes.
One of our residents talked about when we remove a position, is there an option? And there is an option for this position. I don't know if this is the right time to talk about it, but there is another option for this position and the person that holds the position also. I don't know if this is the right time to talk about it, but there was an option that I heard. Is this the right time to talk about it or not?
No, that's the mic.
I know there was a position that is already on the books.
Tonight, basically, the council will reduce or increase certain items, which may require certain positions to be defunded. But really, we're not really looking at individuals or their positions, basically looking at specific lines and how much money is placed in each one.
Maybe you can speak to the business administrator, city administrator. No, we're not. The city administrator active.
Okay, there is an option.
So, since I'm coming in a little late to this, I was teaching, and I would just say that, for all the talk that we make of the future, we do need, we're not in the 20th century, we're in the 21st century, and in terms of intergovernmental relations, in terms of reaching out beyond our borders, I think that this is the original budget as presented was a very responsible budget. Even the consultant said it was a responsible budget. And I think that in terms of how the budget was presented,
I think that roughly, I think it was about $2 per week for residents to pay a little bit more, and with the return, it would be much greater in terms of making our media presence more widespread. We've already, I'm sure other people have said, we're kind of at a crossroads, and we need to make sure that we have the personnel in place to see this to its, to fruition. And I think that with the transit-oriented designation that we have, with development happening in other cities, we need funding and we need those bodies in place with the contacts and connections to move us into the next century. If the council says that we're committed to the 21st century, we need to make sure that we can move there properly. We need people to write. We need, press releases. We need to have these liaisons occurring to make sure that we can deliver on the promise of success for this administration. We went through 8 years of stagnation. We need to move ahead. And if we don't move ahead, I think that we're just going to not be able to increase ratables. Everybody says, we can increase ratables and we're committed to increasing ratables, but how are we going to do that if we don't have the personnel in place to really make that case to the state, to the county, to our federal government? We don't have people writing grants, etc. We can't just continue on the path that we've been on with declining ratables.
Thank you. May I have, it's been moved. Did I have a second?
Second.
Okay, and this is the vote on the office of the mayor from $193,480 to $147,480, and it was derived by removing, suggestion that we remove the chief of staff a half year. May I have a vote? Would you call the vote, please?
Council members Brown?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Storch?
No.
Taylor?
Yes.
Williams?
No.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Council President Lewis?
Yes.
It's 5 in favor, 2 opposed, none absent.
The next office is Corporation Counsel, salary and wages, from $311,250 to $261,250. And this was derived by removing one of the special counsels. Okay, I have a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
I'm a no.
Oh,
Call the roll, please.
roll call.
Before you do that, can we just get our attorney to explain what the impact of that is?
Certainly. We currently have in the Office of Corporation Counsel, myself, one part-time special counsel, and one secretary. This was a vacant position that the office was looking to add to bring us back closer to levels that we had 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we had 2 special counsel, a city solicitor, and a corporation counsel, and one secretary. So this would bring us not all the way back, but would bring us closer to the staffing levels that we had back in 2012.
Thank you.
Can you call for the vote, please?
Roll.
Council members Brown?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Storch?
No.
Taylor?
Yes.
Williams?
No.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Council President?
Yes.
5 in favor, 2 opposed, it passes.
Okay, city clerk, salary and wages, from $307,488 up to $355,688. We need 5 votes on this, correct?
Second? Second. All those in favor?
I'm sorry, explain it.
The position? We're explaining the position.
Yes, it's to fund the vacant assistant clerk position for further assistance in the clerk's office, to assist the clerk's office as well as the council as well.
This position, we need to actually help us with our records in addition to serving the city council.
Okay, may I have the vote, call the vote, please?
Excuse me, could you
Yeah.
finish the statement?
Go ahead. Ms. Brown?
Well, he covered most of it, but it's a position that we think will help us with our council relationship and the administration relationship. So it's a position that the administration is actually envisioning.
Roll call?
Council members Brown?
No.
Breeze?
Yes.
Storch?
No.
Taylor?
Yes.
Williams?
No.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Council President Rivers?
Yes.
The motion fails.
Community Relation and Social Service, salary and wages, 102,918 down to 90,478. I have a second.
Second.
What's the impact, what happened and what's the impact?
It's a difference of $12,000, I'm not sure, on the impact.
We are still requesting that a director of community relations and social services be put into the budget with the understanding that it supports the community service block grant funding that we get, and is in jeopardy of being lost by not having the intention of the director of the position.
So this position would downgrade a position or would lose a position?
Well, half the year is gone for the position, so we don't need full funding for it this year.
Oh, so the administration is proposing to save some money?
Yes.
Well, yeah.
That was a question. Okay.
Roll call, please.
Council members Brown?
Yes.
Breeze?
Yes.
Storch?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Council President Rivers?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Next item is the media department, salary and wages for the public information officer. It was introduced at $286,278. We're reducing it, suggesting that it go down to $179,278. Need a second?
Second.
Question.
Question, go ahead.
So does this affect anything beyond the one position?
Yes.
What's the title of this position?
The other position, it affects two positions, the public information officer and a vacant media specialist.
Okay. So I do want to, I don't know if there's any other questions before. Okay. So I think a lot of people, I'm thinking most people, if not everybody, agrees that one of our big challenges in the city is that we don't communicate very well internally and also with the public. So these positions, these are not new positions, by the way. These are positions that we've had for many, many years.
Yes.
And it doesn't make any sense to me that we would want to take them out. We've had enough challenges with poor communication, not getting words out on all kinds of things. And that's just within Plainfield. But this position, I know the lead position also affects our relationships and communications outside of Plainfield. And if we're going to market the city, we're going to attract investors, we have to do much better than we're doing. This is actually taking us backwards, and I'm concerned about that. And I want to go back to something that happened at the Finance Committee meeting. I'm in favor of reducing expense. I mean, Mr. Reed and I have agreed on this for all the years that we've been on the council together. I'm very upset about the way we're doing it, because we're not doing it in the right way. What I have proposed, there was $1 million of reduction being proposed at the Finance Committee meeting, and about half of it, I think, was in quote-unquote new positions, even though they're not new positions. So what I suggested was, to my two colleagues, Mr. Reed and Ms. Taylor, was let's split the difference. Let's reduce the budget by $500,000 instead of $1 million, because that would address some of the surplus concerns, but it would give the administration at least half of these positions that they wanted. And they could, and then I also proposed that if we're going to be truly collaborative, if we're not going to just say we support the mayor and we want progress, we're actually going to do something about it. The council's role is to come up with the resources so that the administration can do something about it. So I propose that we split the difference and cut $500,000 instead of $1 million, and that we allow the administration to decide where the cuts would be made. That's the collaborative way of a council and a mayor and administration working together. It's been done before in Plainfield that way. Unfortunately, my colleagues didn't see it that way. And I'm assuming that because we're going through this exercise right now, and it seems like a lot of these cuts are driven by somebody who's in the city council, as opposed to a collaboration with the administration. It's just the wrong way to do it. And it's not only bad in terms of the budget, but it also is bad in terms of public relations and our image in Plainfield and outside Plainfield. And we need to improve that image dramatically if we're going to attract investments, it brings jobs, and it brings tax revenues. So we have to it's not enough to talk and how we want the mayor to succeed. We actually have to follow that up with actions and behavior that actually supports the talk. So I urge my colleagues to restore these dollars and give the administration the tools it needs to communicate, to market, to do public relations, to change the image of Plainfield, because we deserve much more. Our image is tarnished, certainly outside Plainfield, and there's a lot that we could do to improve that. But you got to give the administration the tools to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So both me. Yes.
It's always back to one-sided again, and slanted the way certain people want it to be slanted. I do think that we are still trying to do what is fiscally best for the city, reducing the taxes for taxpayers. In addition to that there are people within the city structure that can do some of these activities already. And I don't think that to say just because you don't get what it is you think ought to be done, that we are not doing our job. We are doing our job. The recommendations of the Citizens Budget Advisory Committee and others, this is not just some sort of just let's take out stuff and starve the mayor. That is not true. And I resent this constant preoccupation with certain people when you have a different point of view as the council, that you are in some way insulting the mayor. That is not so. And I am not going to just sit back and allow people to pay and twist and manipulate because they want it to be done a certain way. That's why it's advice and consent with the city council. And there's more than one way to do things. And I think we are trying to be fiscally responsible without shutting down the city and doing all those kinds of things. And there are other ways to get things done as well, but we have to deal with what is right now. We don't have a lot of the ratables, we don't have a lot of the things that need to be done, so we've got to be fiscally responsible. And certain fluff kinds of positions we don't need to do right now, so which means that administration has to do those things. And city council has to be the example of media specialists and dealing with the image of the city right now. And that until we get to the place where we can do this, we have to deal with our realities. And I resent this constant political twisting so that you say we are not doing our job because we don't agree with your political support of whomever. And that's ridiculous.
Council members Brown? Yes. Reeves?
Yes.
Storch?
No.
Taylor?
Yes.
Williams?
No.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Council President Ritter?
Yes.
I go to engineering and
I would like to actually change my vote on the clerk's office.
I would actually require a motion to reconsider.
I'd like to make a motion to reconsider my vote.
second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
And you'd like to now change your vote?
Yeah, we gotta change that.
Well, we're gonna vote.
We'll vote again?
Yes.
Okay.
Council members Brown,
Vote no.
Reeves,
Yes.
Storch,
No.
Taylor,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Chairman Reed,
Yes.
Council President Rivers.
Yes.
5 in favor, 2 opposed, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I was at engineering, other expenses. From 103,250 to 215,250.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
That's the B5.
Oh, you need five?
Yes, that's the increase. So call the roll, please.
What's the rationale for that?
This is the increase that we back with the budget. Okay.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Planning, salary and wages, from 298,956 to 266,456. Need a second.
What's that called, please?
It's from 298,956 down to 266,456.
For?
A vacant position.
Speak up.
$32,000 for a vacant position you're trying to fill in planning.
Which position is it?
It's vacant.
Was it assistant planner?
So this is a department that's been chronically understaffed for at least 10 years. And we are poised for development. We just got the 1C Thrive. We have a transit-oriented development designation. We have developers who want to work with us. And we want to be business friendly. This is not the direction we want to go.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Can I have a roll call?
Council members Brown,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Storch,
No.
Taylor,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Chairman Reed,
Yes.
Council President Rivers.
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 opposed.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
5 in favor, 2 opposed. Passes.
Under recreation, salary and wages, from 256,793 down to 161,484.
Can you explain that?
One of the larger reductions for this position is the $55,000 we set aside for an employee that was listed in 2 places in the budget, one in recreation and one in economic development. We're correcting that by reducing the amount of recreation and having that person paid out of the economic development budget like they were supposed to.
Thank you.
When you say reducing the amount of recreation, what does that require? Reducing activities to kids or not?
No.
Just a position?
Yes, she should have been in the budget.
So does that explain the $90,000 difference?
Well, not the entire $90,000. It's also a position for a recreation specialist that is not being funded. It was currently vacant. Oh, no. It was the clerk position, because we had another 9-month clerk position in the budget that wasn't funded. So the recreation specialist is still in. The vacant clerk position is being removed.
This is a clerk for the recreation department.
Yes, it was in
And
the
what's
budget
gonna
for
be
9 months.
So what's going to be the impact on the recreation program?
They will probably have to do with more seasonal employees during
Right.
peak season and less of permanent employees for the 9-month period.
And that's a good thing because there's more jobs, with the seasonal and, with the centers, they alternate them. So it's a great thing. I mean, we had a great seasonal worker over here from Hannah Atkins Park. So I think that's a great thing.
Is the administration recommending that change?
We can cobble together the resources we need through our seasonal budget to make sure that it works for us.
Are you recommending that change?
I'm recommending it.
Thank you.
So we have a vote.
All those, and we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed?
Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, under recreation, other expenses, from 102,200 to 122,200. This is an increase of 20,000.
Can the administration explain what that increase is?
I'm also recommending that.
Tell us what it is anyway.
We are going to be increasing our seasonal employment line.
Yes.
This is other expenses.
This is for maintenance and support around the pools and playgrounds. There's additional money, after an initial assessment by the new superintendent, it was deemed that we had additional work to do around the pools and playgrounds, so we asked for more money.
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
All those, can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions, motion carries.
Under the police, salary and wages, from $14,873,814.09 down to $14,773,814.09. Any comment?
Any questions?
This is the police director position?
Yeah, that $100,000 that is.
So does that have any impact on our operations?
We have a police director currently, and we have a
Public safety.
public safety director. He is acting in both positions, and there will be a negligible impact at this juncture.
Negligible means what?
He will be able to handle both jobs for this year.
Okay.
Thank you.
But we'll be back next year. Call for the vote.
All, can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions, motion carries.
Under the municipal court and other expenses, from $52,163 to $62,163. An increase, I need 5 votes on that, right?
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
What's the?
I know it is, Director,
This is for fees having to do with the payment by credit cards. It's a third party, it's not a part of our bank. They employ a third party agency to monitor the third party fees.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions, motion carries.
Under insurance, under workman's comp, from $1,200,000 down to $1,100,000.
Have a second?
Second, then could the administration explain these two items?
Director.
This is reduction.
These are recommendations from the consultant, and basically, we need a little luck. These are reductions in insurance premiums, and they're from the consultant, and hopefully their forecast is correct, that we won't need the money.
And what if
I think the recommendation was that not return to 2013. What did we do?
That's right, to the 2013 premiums, we don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And again, that's a projection, so we hope their projection is accurate.
Thank you.
Did you get a second on that?
I seconded it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions, motion carries.
Under other insurance premiums, from $2,826,000 down to $2,426,000.
Can I get a second?
Can you explain that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions, motion carries.
Opposed.
One opposed.
So this will go to...
Going to E. Deferred charges and statutory expenditures municipal within the caps. And under that is prior year bills, office of the mayor, and other expenses from $0 to $3,500.
Can the administration explain that?
What was that again?
I need an explanation.
Okay. Prior year bills.
These are bills that was submitted to me via email from the prior administration, and I asked them for the funding to pay it, and at that time they stated they did not have the funding, so I added it into the budget.
So can you explain what this is for?
Past expenditures from the prior mayor whose bills weren't paid at that time. And we don't have a mechanism for paying them out of this budget unless we add it to the budget.
What were the bills?
They were primarily catering bills.
Food bills,
Yes.
you said?
Primarily.
I remember this because I remember there was information that had been whited out on those bills. Can Corporation Council again?
Thank you, Councilwoman. Since that time, we have received a full set of bills from Leon's Catering, and they are all valid for city events and can be paid.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Under statutory expenditures, unemployment compensation from $200,000 to $100,000.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Police and Firemen's Retirement System from $4,996,037 to $4,694,767.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Public Employees Retirement System from $1,345,131 to $1,214,503. $1,214,503.
I have a
Explanation of that?
Public Employees Retirement System.
No, I want explanation.
Yes, I
Member?
understand.
Sure. The governor came out with revised numbers after issuing the initial required payments to be made by municipal governments across the state, came out with revisions, and these are the revised numbers.
And does that explanation apply to the two items above it?
Not the unemployment, that was a recommendation of the budget consultant. The police and fire's retirement system is the same though.
Okay, thank you.
Did you get a second? You have a second? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, the next one was a total, so we don't have to do that, right? Okay, public and private program offset by revenues. Community service block grant was from zero in the original budget to $65,174.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Body armor replacement fund from zero to $16,939.77.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Union County Art Grant from zero to $2,400.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Kids Recreation Trust from zero to $88,000.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
New Jersey Department of Transportation 2013 municipal aid from zero to $200,460.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Child Care Food Program from zero to $72,550.08.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
The next two items are totals, right?
Yes.
Let's go with that. Do I have to do the total capital improvement? Yeah. Total capital improvement, municipal debt service excluded from caps. Principal on notes, $315,000 to $795,000.
795,000.
Yes, $795,000.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions, motion carries.
Interest on notes from 252,630 to 259,830.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions, motion carries.
Okay, deferred charges, municipal including from excluded from cap. Okay, we're getting near the end, folks. Special emergency authorization, 5 years, New Jersey NJSA 48-4-55, from 120,000 to 0.
Can I get a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions, motion carries.
That's a total appropriation. You have to do subtotal and general appropriation total. That's it, folks.
I have a question about the emergency, what was that one, the special emergency authorization? Why is that, you don't want that? Can the administration explain that?
Sure. The city issued $600,000 in notes in reaction to the damage done by Superstorm Sandy. And at the time, the legislation that was enacted allowed for a special emergency that the city could raise this over a 5-year period. But because we got FEMA reimbursement in an amount that allowed us to pay the notes off, the last couple of things that you voted on here, where we've increased the amount of principal and notes, interest on notes, and it's to pay these notes off. The emergency that you had in the budget over 5 years, $120,000 per year, so that's no longer necessary because we're paying the notes off. So that's why this is going down to 0.
Thank you. I'll just read the total, we don't have to vote on this, I understand. Total general appropriation from $75,028,649.86 down to $74,562,926.71. And that's the total of what we voted on tonight.
Thank you. Okay, now that we have passed our budget, we are opening up the floor again for public comments. I'm sorry, for public comments.
Before we do that, you gotta go back to page 1. And at the bottom of page 1, there's item 6. Okay, so you have to vote on that, the amount to be raised by taxation, revising that.
Okay. Item 6 on page 1, amount to be raised by taxes and for the support of the municipal budget, local tax for municipal purposes, including reserves for uncollected taxes, from 52 million rather. I'm thinking about my budget. 52,730,116.93 to 52,354,447.63.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions, motion carries.
Now, do I have to do the second one? The one that total amount?
You can.
Yeah, okay, good. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's get an explanation on that, because that's a decrease.
In tax. Right.
Decrease in tax. So,
Yeah, that.
all over, we've been hearing that the taxes are going up $109 on the average assessed value house.
Councilman, this is the amount to be raised by taxation. Okay, the average assessed value, assessment per household is going up as a result of the loss of rate.
Loss of rate.
Okay, so the amount of taxes is actually going down, but because the residential portion is paying a larger percentage of the overall budget, the average assessed home is paying that much more.
So that's a remarkable fact, and it points out how important it is for us to do economic development. But even with the taxes going down, we still pay more taxes.
Well, the point, I don't know if you recall, Mr. West bringing it up, if the budget had remained absolutely flat, okay, the taxes to the average home still went up by $30. And that's the dynamic that the city has to change.
Now, may I just make a comment, Mr. George? This is from the introduced budget that we are reducing, not the overall taxes. Taxes, as I understand, would go up $94.84 on an average of $150,000 set valuation.
That's a very valid point.
Okay, now we're at public comments. Public comments are limited to 5 minutes. If this public comments, there will be no back and forth. The floor is now open for public comments. Anyone wishing to be heard can approach the mic.
Patricia Collins, 726 Sheridan Avenue. I wanted to give an opportunity because I was not here on Monday before last when the proposal came before the council regarding the concert. I am the COO of Best Kept Secrets Entertainment. We're based here in Plainfield. My partner and I both basically raised here and live here. I just wanted an opportunity to let you know who we were, or who we are, and that if there were any questions or anything regarding the proposal or that you would have of us, because I understood that a question came up, that we would be happy and available to speak with you at any time. What I can tell you about us is that our business has been based here for over 5 years. We have a strong social media presence. We have a strong presence on Facebook, on Twitter. We have a strong presence in the community. You look familiar because you may have seen me at events here and there. Our heart is for Plainfield, that we are excellent at what we do. And we've been in the entertainment business for over 30 years. We are a small group, but we are diverse and skilled in many different areas, and more than confident that we can handle the proposal that we put forth to you. And again, we offer ourselves at any time that you'd like to meet or speak with us individually. We are available. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, I just want to comment, however we decide on this, I mean, that's, I guess, to be decided. I think it's important, and this gets back to communication, because I know with the concerts that we've had in the past, there were a lot of concerns expressed that they were not well attended, that a lot of the people who attended were city employees, the word got out late on some of those. So you don't always want to go for the low price on this. You want to go for the proposal that's really going to deliver more people into our downtown, because I think that's what we're doing this week.
Councilman Storch, real quick, I don't know which concerts those people attended, but the concerts that I attended was well attended. I'm sorry, we still have privilege to say that.
Ann Robinson, 1330 Highland Avenue. I want to thank you for not having to come before you this year to beg for the budget for the library. And I would also thank you for reappointing me to the library board. Thank you.
Good evening, Sadiq Elamine, 315 Sumner Avenue. I just wanted to highlight one particular thing under statutory expenditures that you passed, where you approved a decrease from the municipal side of payment for the employee retirement funds, both of those, and the governor in his great majesty reduced the state's obligation, required obligation to settle only to what he feels is necessary under his administration, what he's obligated under his administration, and not what the total outstanding balances do. But that being said, where he has the liberty to make those cuts, to make those decisions and determination to reduce what his obligation is to pay in that portion of the retirement fund, and he passes that authority down to the municipalities, where you now have the authority to make a determination to reduce the obligation that you have to pay into the retirement system. Please, please, please bear in mind that the employee does not have the opportunity to reduce his portion of the contribution into his or her retirement, because that is their long-range funding for when they reach their 20 years or 30 or 25 years or 30 years and retire and are able to then collect on their pension. Bear in mind, the employee pays 100% of what they're obligated to pay, but you as a municipal government get to skate, so to speak, on your 100% obligation to pay and be able to reduce yours to fit your budget. However, the employees, it automatically comes out of their check on a required, established percentage that they must contribute for their obligation to the retirement system. So please bear in mind that when you're doing that, down the road you hear media, legislators talking about how the pension system is corrupt and we've got to reform it, do something about it. The person at the very bottom, the employee, has held up their end of the bargain.
Can I comment on that? I'm with you 100%. But the city cannot pay more than these numbers, because these are decided by the state government. So while the governor did come out and say the pension system is failing and would be maybe facing a shortfall, about a week later he came out and reduced numbers. So the city can't make a larger contribution then. That's determined by the state.
Any more for privilege of the floor?
Good evening again. Alan Goldstein on 39 Madison Avenue. I wanted to differ with Councilman Reed, who said we are close to the end. From what I saw tonight, we are further from that end than we were a day ago, a week ago, 2 months ago, 2 years ago. I think that tonight we took a big step backwards. I think I'll leave it at that. I think that people should be ashamed of what's going on here. Public, I think that we know that there are underlying currents that are surrounding this budget. I know that the chairman of the Democratic Party here in the city and in the county, Seth Newman, has been bad-mouthing this administration in every effort that they can make it. Even though he said initially, I don't want to be perceived about telling the city council what to do. I don't want to be perceived as meddling with the administration. But 2 seconds later, and for the next 4 or 5 months, that's all you've been getting out of him. And I think that there are too many of you who are enthralled to that dynamic that has been in the city for several decades now. And it's time that this should end. Because of tonight, we're just that much further from the end.
Thank you. Any more for privilege of the floor?
Good evening again, Jennifer Shaw, I would just like to remark about a remark that the former mayor made. First of all, I would like to say I've been on the CBAC for about 4 or 5 years. And at no time was the council that interested in what we had to say. So while that's a little discouraging for me, not having been on it this year, I do think that, I think it's a good thing that the CBAC has started to be looked at a little more seriously. But one of the things that was said is that the CBAC, and it is true, we do recommend that the recreation department be outsourced. The reason why we did that was because for about 4 years we tried to get information. This was $100,000 that we were spending. We tried to get information about where the money was going, who it was going to, how many children, and we were never getting that kind of information. We asked for it, and we never got it. So the option for us was to say, if you can't justify the monies that you're spending, then you shouldn't be spending them. And that was a song that we sang throughout the whole budget for anything that we couldn't get justification for. And we couldn't get justification for a lot of things. So, you know, while I'm not sure what you're going to do now, so as I said, the council has said we're not doing these certain things. I am assuming that you're going to be talking to the administration as to how we can get ratables, as to how, you know, ratables is not just reducing our taxes. Ratables mean that there's somebody coming into this town with business opportunities and jobs for people. So I think it's a little narrow to just say, well, we're reducing taxes, because reducing taxes is a lot more than just a number. It's just a lot more than just saying, no, we don't want this position or that position. So I just wanted to say that while, yeah, there were a lot of things we said no to, was because we couldn't find out why the money was being spent. And I will have to say also, this whole idea that there isn't something political going on, I'm a little concerned that the former mayor sits here and by name asks you to give people jobs. I don't think that's right. I haven't heard anybody anywhere else asking that, and I just don't think that's the right thing to do. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else with privilege of the floor?
You'll be here to help me out of the chair.
Not a problem, not a problem.
Getting into chairs is easy as getting out is the hard way. That'll give me about 414 Roanoke Road. It amazes me that earlier this year, the council approved new positions, salary band and all, and has now essentially eliminated those positions from the budget. I think that's a step in the wrong direction. If we want Plainfield to improve, to prosper, to progress, there is absolutely no reason for the council to keep its feet stuck in the mud of the past. We have had a lot of squabbles. That's, you know, I remember saying to a city council meeting that my late husband and I had many arguments, but never talked about divorce. Go ahead and have squabbles, but don't cut off the city's nose to spite someone else's face. That is not fair to the citizens. We have got to have economic development to bring business in. We have got to have public information to get the word out. It's an essential part of growth and progress. We had the previous administration, before the previous administration, had a public information officer. He was sitting here, but I guess he must have gotten impatient and left. And that public information officer provided a very valuable function by communicating with us. Not everybody in Plainfield gets the Courier News, and the only thing in the Courier News about Plainfield is arrests and house sales anyway. Not everybody in Plainfield has internet access. A lot of people in Plainfield don't do Facebook, including this person, or Twitter, or any of that stuff. The citizens need to know what's going on. And without information being freely available and given to us, we don't know. Not many of us are going to come over to City Hall every day or so to ask what's new. We're not in a position to do that. As far as economic development is concerned, if we don't do that, this city is going to continue on its path to death. I have lived here 30 years, and I love this town, but you're sending it right down that black hole. And I think that's criminal, almost criminal. And it certainly is bizarre to approve a position and a salary band and then essentially lay off the person that was hired to fill it. That's bizarre. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say something? Ms. Kudenthal, we did not. Dottie?
I'm listening, but I'm not used to being called Mrs. Kudenthal.
Anyway, what I'm saying is that we do have an economic development person, and he still does have his person in that office to do his secretarial work. So why are you saying that, we have cut him? We have not.
His secretarial work?
Yes.
That's not what we're
No back and forth.
We have.
Councilwoman, please.
But just let me explain to her.
Explain it.
We do have an economic development person, and he has a secretary. Those are the positions.
She was talking about public information officer.
No, that's not what she said.
That's not what she said.
She said.
That's not what she said.
That's what she
And it's all
said.
part of the same package, we all know that.
No.
Yeah.
You're misleading people.
No. What she's saying is that you can't do economic development in a vacuum. You need all kinds of supports for it. You do need public relations. You can't, how do people know that Plainfield is on the move unless you have communication? You can't just be an economic development person.
Well, there's somebody
That's what the vision was when they presented the budget. It was a package. It's not, you can pick apart pieces of it, and yeah, we can still move ahead, but it's slowing us down significantly.
I beg to differ, because there is someone in media that write press release, that do the same thing that this individual is doing. And I'm not going to call names, but this person does an excellent job in media and also applied for that position. He does a magnificent job in the media department to get that information out. So I truly believe that this information will continue to go out without that position, but we're saving money.
I think the council shouldn't be running the administration and telling the administration, here's how you do it, here's the people that you do it. You have to give them the tools and let them do it.
They do have the
That's the
tools.
separation of
They do
powers.
have the tools. It's
Well,
now up to them
I think the
to
citizen
run
was
their
arguing,
organization.
citizen was arguing that we're not giving enough tools, and she's right.
Basically, what she
that's
did
your
state,
opinion.
she stated that we do not have, she talked about the economic development, and that person is still sitting in that office. That person also has a secretary that will be attending to that office. So it's not about us getting rid of the economic development person. I'm sorry, but I would like the old doctor to have his chance.
I just wanted to add a comment as well.
Excuse me, we're at privilege of the floor. You can add a comment once the old doctor finishes speaking. Excuse me, Ms. Goldstein, Mr. Goldstein, don't talk from the sideline. This is a council meeting, and we will conduct this as a council meeting. And I will not have interruption from someone from the outside. Excuse me? Is there any officers here? Please get the officer. Please get the officer. I will not have this council meeting disrupted. Anybody that wants to disrupt this council meeting can leave on their own or have the officer to escort them out. Old Doc, thank you.
Thank you. Harold, you're 53 Road. I've almost forgotten what I was going to say. But I think that the council wishes to reduce as much as possible any increase in taxes. But we forget something. We forget that taxes are dependent on rateables.
and rateables mean what the property is worth in the community. And if we don't try, and one of the problems we've had over the years is a great loss in property value, which is making a great many lawyers rich lately in tax reduction acts. And every time the assessment goes down, the rateable has to, the tax on the rateable has to go up. So you're not saving money if you're reducing any possibility of increasing the value of property in this community. That is the one thing you have to do. And when you look at any savings that you are making, you've got to find out whether they are really at the value or the benefit for Plainfield. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any more for privilege of the floor? Thank
You guys do a tough job. It's not easy. Gonna be criticized no matter how you do it.
you. Name and address, please.
Jeff Dunn, 537 Belvedere Avenue, Plainfield, New Jersey. This is not easy work. The square rooting and the cutting or the adding is a battle. And I acknowledge the council's job as being difficult, as well as the administration's job being difficult. I don't expect either side just to get it in or turn it over. That's the job, is to make sure that this thing is done right. A lot of people want to say it's political. Political? Call it political. Call it the political process. Check and balances. Okay? I'm tired of this political bullying. I'm tired of this rollover and throwing things at the council last minute with surprises. Stop it. Act professional. In all due respect, you can do it. Do it. You are destroying the opportunity to build relationships.
Right.
And those relationships are key to negotiations. You're going to need to work with the council, and the council needs to work with you, but there needs to be respect, and there's a lack of it. A lack of it. And I can go both ways with situations. Unless there is a consensus of respect, there is no respect. Especially with council persons who basically disrespect the citizens themselves. Turning the way, looking up the way, rolling their eyes, rolling their head, whatever. My situation is this. Basically, let's get back to business. Now, there's been a lot of conversation about cuts. Cuts necessary. Talk about rateables, okay? We as the council, not the council, but the administration want to talk to the business community. They have got to call me. Not that I know everything, but I know a few people. One of the things I know about is that the one-seat ride is very significant. There is going to be a significant change in the downtowns of every downtown linked to a train station. And that's why we got the certification of the Transit Village. And that Transit Village has already become profitable. And that is where the new business is going to come. It's going to change the complete demographics of downtown. That is where the opportunity is. That is the future. And if you doubt what I say, look at all the other towns. They talk about Plainfield. Well, really, the Plainfield's disadvantage is now turning to the Plainfield's advantage. Of all those developed towns along the Raritan line, what they're lacking is parking, ladies and gentlemen, which we got plenty of. What we can do is we can basically do some horse trading with some of these towns. We can be a component of the transit line and basically be a major port of parking. But not just parking, but with development, with commercial, with rateables. It can be done. It should be done. It will be done with negotiations, with balance checks, and some cooperation. I've been here 40 years, and I believe this town can be all that it should be, but it can only be all that it could be with the diversity of everyone. Every color, every race, every class, every neighborhood. Hate me all you want. But what I want to say is this, that we have a beautiful town here, and our greatest asset is diversity. We got to use it. Thank you.
Any more for privilege of the floor?
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Everyone here. Alex Tallman, 123 Sumner Avenue. You know, I'm sitting over there with my wife and I'm saying that, many years ago I used to be the firebrand in this council. Many of you people wasn't even around me. Okay, and I ran for city council twice. Many people wasn't around then. Radiables was my forte. I talked about radiables. I'm glad to see Miss Collins over there because I was the one that brought Warren Entertainment to the city. Spent a lot of money with Blue Magic, redoing the Strand Theater. I've been in the entertainment field and many other fields in my own business all my life. We sit here and like Mr. Dunn said, we do disrespect. If we can't look at each other straight in the face, we got to look up in the air. I remember the time that I was here with the veterans. I did apologize because everyone has a right to do what they want to do. And I fought for those rights as special forces. So I want to say to everyone here, economic development is a necessity. Ratables, I don't think anyone understood that when I was talking about it. It wasn't this past mayor. It wasn't past two mayors. Matter of fact, it was past two mayors. There's so many things going on in the city that this mayor was part of. But all that's buried. If you want to know the history, I'm a history buff, but I have a memory like an elephant. And I can tell you everyone in here that was what it was at, if there was any parts of this city, up until 25 years ago, because I was part of this city. I came here again as my own person, my own business, making a lot of money. $1 million, yes. Okay, I will continue. Mr. Corr starts walking out, but I want to tell him that I look at him as, on this council, probably as the ultimate politician because he is that. He will take the challenge, whether it's right on his side or not. I'm not new to politics. I've been in politics since I was a little kid. I worked on both sides of the fence. I was a Republican. Many of you know that. Some of you don't know that. We're independent. My own money, I ran. Dolly Gudenkauf brought me back into the fold of the Democrats. Many of you don't know that either. I was always looking for improvement in the city. It never happened. It wasn't under this mayor. It wasn't under the last two mayors. It was the last mayor. There was one good mayor, I would say, and he's no longer Mark Fury. A lot of people don't know who he is, but he was the mayor. We also asked for the Veterans Home for the veterans. Many, many times I came before you in the public, outside of here, and at the Salvation Army, asking for places when we had the places for the veterans to resign at, where they could give back to the community, but it was never given. It was always a promise that was never kept. So I'm going back to Mr. Dunn, and like I said, a lot of things are ready to happen. A lot of things are ready to break loose. I'm not sitting here like I'm not knowledgeable. I am a very knowledgeable person. And like I said, I can point out each and every one here. Matter of fact, Ms. Taylor and her ex-deceased husband have been dead, but Mr. Rick Taylor and I was good friends. I was there when he negotiated with the Republicans when he gave them a $500,000 check. Mr. King came over with Buff. I was there. And yes, I was with Whitman and all of them. And we looked at Plainfield then and said we have to come together and work together. None of this, well, I want to be on this side or on this side. Be on the side of Plainfield, be on the side of the taxpayers. And just like Mr. Dunn said, we need ratables, but we don't have to give away the ship to get ratables. But we do need an IT person. That's necessary. We got rid of one, but we need one. So I just, I'm sitting there twitching, looking at everyone, the two gentlemen up there, the Muslim brothers. I have been with them for many times, many years. One of the few people that have met the Honorable Elijah Muhammad out of Chicago, which I'm from. I worked in Mayor Washington program when he was becoming the mayor. so I'm not new to the political arena. So I just want to just sit here like Mr. Dunn was doing, and it really disgusts me to see people acting, wow, what am I here for?
1 second, Mr. Thomas.
I'm sorry.
Motion to, I make a motion to extend.
Okay.
All
You
those
know,
in
this
favor?
is, thank you.
Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions, motion carries.
Thank you. You know, this is not just disrespect to the public, disrespect to your fellow council people. I can look you straight in the eye if I don't see you on council. Mr. Starr said too. I could have said it again, I appreciate you. You are a good politician. And I've never seen you shy away. I've never seen you roll your eyes. I've never seen you look up in the air, even if we disagree. These things are necessary in the city council. And I'm sure the city council person knows exactly what we're talking about, but it's not necessary. Be professional. And like I said, I have had enough with professional people. Been on seen many scenes. This is not professional. And I beg of you to look at each other and stop looking up in the air, because there's no flies up there, and there's no council members up there, and there's no public up here. The public's right here. Thank you.
Richard Stewart, 1171 Gresham Road. As the cameras roll behind me, I think the city council and the city administration has a crossroad. It could be either spun negatively, which would, the headline would read, city council cuts the mayor's, half the mayor's appointees, or it could be spun positively, and that the city council supported at least half of the mayor's appointees. And then that's the decision, and that's the media and the public relations that's going to determine whether, from the 4 years that Mayor Matt's in office, whether there's cooperation or whether there's distrust and animosity. You know, everyone wants, there's lots of talks about the image of Plainfield, and it starts here, it starts in this room. It starts with, instead of the narrative being the positions that were cut, let's talk about the positions that were accepted. The economic development director has been accepted. I know that's a big point, and that's one of the stronger factors in whether getting the ratables up. And I think that the positive and needs to be addressed more, because we are being filmed. There's the blogs. I never knew that Plainfield had blogs until I got involved in this. But the blogs are there, and again, it's a crossroads. So it's either we're going to worry about what was cut, and we're going to have that carry on in the next council meeting, and in a year past, we're still talking about the cuts that happened today. Or we could talk about the cooperation that was agreed upon today, the hires that were appointed and approved, and allow that to lead the conversation.
Thank you so much. Well put. Seeing none, for one.
Good evening, Council. I'm Special Way from New Jersey. I'd just like to add that, despite all that we're getting a lot of one-sided, views insofar as our negativity is concerned, and with the expectations of what media may say. Historically, history best rewards research. I don't think we should be overly concerned what people say, because people have never given the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and the complete truth. They have never did that, especially media, and especially blogs. They're pretty one-sided. They always spin things their way. I read them all the time. People say, I don't play the blogs, I don't read them. I try to read everything they write. And the reason why, because I want to see what they're talking about and what they say. I went to the American school system just like most of you all, and we know now today, in 2014, most of the things that we were taught in school were lies. But we still teach it. We know most of the things that we see on ABC, CBS, NBC, WORTV, CNN, WNBC, a bunch of lies. It's not the complete truth. You know, it's misguided information. But I do believe we have a wonderful, great opportunity. And that requires our strength to be able to, number one, have some humility, humble ourselves. We need to humble ourselves. And this is not, I think the council is doing a great job in the face of what we're dealing with. You know, and I speak for a constituency, and I say that very humbly. I ran for mayor, I ran against mayor, had over 1,000 votes as an independent. So I speak for a constituency. And the vast majority of the population, people keep talking about, oh, Matt had 70% of the vote. 70% of what? 70% of very few people compared to 50,000 people. Over 24,000 registered voters in the city of Plainfield. Just look at the map now. Look at what we're talking about here. You know, and things don't necessarily start with the haves and just stay with the haves. It's about the have-nots because they're at the bottom. I've never been to no construction site where we start building anything up here. We always started down here. So we have to invest in our people. The rentals will come. They're going to come regardless of all this nonsense everybody is talking from one particular point of view or another. Especially if leadership, yeah, we elected the mayor, they got elected. So the mayor is the leader. He puts forth his vision, but in putting forth his vision, he needs to put it forth with some humility. And he needs to come to the council. He needs to come to the people. He hasn't done that yet. Not with humility, not humbly, you know. So I think we all need to pray on this. And we need to expect the best from one another. But expect the best from one another for the least of us. It's not just about big business and pushing the least of us the hell out of here. And no, it's definitely not about them. I hear people talking about, I've been here these many years, this many years, this many years. I've been here 58 years. And we care about the least of us. Yeah, we like the mayor to be successful, we like the administration to be successful, and I'm sure he has very bright, capable people that can do the job. And we have very bright, capable people in the city of Plainfield. But it's just not about continuing the disenfranchisement that has been taking place. So you can act like it hasn't been taking place, but it has been taking place. We've been gentrified, disenfranchised in the city of Plainfield. There needs to be some attention that's going to be paid there, in particular, to the population that exists here. We need to work together. We need to go the extra mile of working with each other. But our leadership is expected to demonstrate that. Demonstrate that. You know, and don't give us this lame excuse, well, I got a 6-figure job someplace up there. You should have never ran for mayor. You should have never ran for mayor. You know, who are you kidding? What do you think this is? And we thought you ran for the mayor on the pretense that you wanted to serve this community. Not have the community serve you. I need a couple.
Make a motion. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
So we applaud the council. We applaud the council, we applaud the administration. I think we beginning to make some compromise because people respect you when you're strong. If you're weak as hell, they do not respect you. They do not respect you. And people talk about Plainfield's going to go down. Plainfield's been down. Where you been? Plainfield's been down. For the vast majority of the population that live here. But a few of you living up on the hill, sure as have not been down for you. You don't understand down. You have yet to understand down. We want Plainfield to survive and come back up. To get halfway where you are. See, but that takes you who have been given much to give much. To whom much is given, much is required. So we need you to reach out, ask your leadership, your mayor, administration, to reach out to this population and to this council. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mohammed, I just want to beg for the indulgence of just asking a question. Have you asked for a meeting with the mayor since he took office?
No, I haven't. His chief of staff came to me and asked me for my card and said they were going to call me and meet with me. I haven't gotten a call.
Okay, so, Mr. Mohammed,
I was expecting a call.
You came to the
I spoke with
microphone.
him more than once.
Came to the microphone, you got the cameras rolling, you got the public, you're telling the mayor how he should behave. The mayor's not here. Meet with the mayor. Take the initiative. You talked about leadership, take some leadership. You have a constituency, make sure you meet with him. That's what this is all about, not like us obliquely criticizing each other.
I'm clear, man. Just want to He won't meet with me. That's the truth.
The traffic, 1117 North Avenue. I've been coming in here and listening to Councilman Starch and watching Councilwoman Rebecca look at the ceiling all night for years. It's the same old thing. When we don't speak the language that you want us to speak, we're wrong. Meet with the mayor. Meet with him for what? He said in his campaign that he would be a full-time mayor. He was going to make changes in Plainfield. What changes have he made? He promised jobs. He did keep that. He did try very hard to get his friends jobs. Not for the people. I've been dealing with Matt, or talking short with Matt for years. Our former mayor, I watched him fight her, disrespect her. And I used to come in here just to represent recreation. And I would come and sit in these meetings and watch the councilmen and women disrespect our mayor. She was the mayor. And that's when I made up my mind I would not stand for that anymore. And I would fight for my friend and my sister every time I came up in here. And because of my fighting for her, they figured, well, we'll get rid of him. This is Councilwoman Rebecca. She said there has to be something that we can do to shut him up. It is not right that he worked for the city and come into our meeting and attack us the way he do. So they figured they could take a job from me. It's not about a job. I look at men that was much greater than I. They lost more than a job. They lost their life. They gave their life. And that's what we are going to do. We are going to give our life. I was born and raised here. My mother was born here. My grandmother grew up here, and her mother was here. And my great-great-grandparents, they all was right here in Plainfield. I didn't just come over here yesterday. And like our brother said, those up on the hill, you can tell us how it should be done down here in the valley, but you don't know nothing about down here. You ain't never been here. You read about us in your so-called books that you write. I'm up here talking. That's what I mean about that. We got work to do. Talk about respect. Respect. We don't ask it, we demand it. And I was always told, no woman respects a weak man. No woman respects a man that she can rule. I could go on, but that's about all I have to say, It's good to be back here. It's good to get back into the fight. I told my sister that when she first started, I called her and her cousin. And I heard that she was talking about running. I said, I don't want to hear talk. You got to do it. I did not take no for an answer from her or her cousin. and they both ran, and sister's here today. Cousin Bridget, I respect Mr. Reed. Every week Mr. Reed called me, because he represents the First Ward, that's where I live. I'm gonna stop because I need my brothers and sisters over on the side, they're restless and ready to go home. So, I'm gonna say thank you for allowing me to come up here again.
Thank you.
And whatever I can do, I will do it.
I just want to say to you, young man, that I am so proud of you because I know you as one of my former students, and I see how you have developed into a fine individual. And this conversation tonight, I think, is very good. Even the negatives, because I see people still listening. In the past, they would get angry and just walk out. So I think that perhaps if we continue to put it on the table and talk to each other, maybe we're going to make progress, because conflict is necessary, but conflict becomes compromise when we respect each other and when we confront one another. And the bottom line is respect, and I'd like to say love. And that's the Plainfield that I know, and that's the Plainfield that I would like to see. It's going to take on a different, it's going to be multicultural, it's going to be different, but it's still a community. And I'm glad to hear you say what you're saying. I remember you and some of the other students, and yes, you have roots in this town, and that foundation is not going to go away. And my role on this council, I will do the same. I feel like a mother hen, and I'm going to protect my children. And I mean that. And what this town was and what it became, it's going to be greater. And I will differ with my friend next here, but I believe we're gonna make headway. And we have to just not give up on each other. We can differ, but we don't have to be nasty. And we have to be respectful. And so I applaud you for being respectful, even when you disagree. And we all need to learn that. And there are other people. Assemblyman Green, I'm sick of that. He is who he is. That has nothing to do with what we're doing on the council. Nor does it mean that whatever this political stuff is going on, let us take responsibility for Plainfield and stop using other people as scapegoats because we don't want to do the job. And I think we have an opportunity and we can do this. I am very optimistic. So
thank you. Any more from privilege of the floor before I close?
Council President, I would like to make a comment. And I wasn't going to make a comment except that to have people come and disparage me. I have a raging headache. My doctor told me, I don't like to get personal, that when I look in this direction, it alleviates the severe pain. So before people start casting aspersions, you should understand why I'm sitting in this dark place and I'm trying to alleviate pain. So that's what's going on. And I really think that it's disrespectful for people to make assumptions about what is going on with anybody sitting up here because they are not looking at them. Thank you very much.
My name is Jean Black, 667 Sheridan Avenue. I come to these meetings, not all the time, but every time I do come, I hear the same thing. I'm not for anybody, but I see this. You're talking about a town, these people get up and talk about what was here in Plainfield before. This is a different time. People have changed. You'll be sitting here all this time talking, the town has changed. People are coming forward. Mrs. Taylor's up there talking about what happened years ago with schools and things. You guys are on the council. You gotta keep the town forward. I'm old, and you're old. I mean, this is a new town. If you guys don't get it together, you'll still be here talking on the council. The town has changed. People people are going forward and getting ahead, and you're still backwards. Please, I have nothing more to say, but just, come on, let's just tell them, hurry out of here, I can't stand this no more. These people, you have ideas, change the town. It's not like it used to be, and you better realize, not like it used to be. We got to go forward with keep up with this. God bless you all, this is crazy. Thank you.
Please, Stewart, 1171 Market Road. I have a really quick comment. I didn't even expect to speak. I came from the Board of Ed meeting, so sorry I came so late. And I also apologize if my comments were touched upon previously. I just want to say, you know, people always encourage younger people to be a part of this process, to have a voice. And it pains me that members of the council and bloggers and media, when you have a voice, they tell you your voice is coming from somewhere else. We are independent thinkers. I want to applaud the Citizens Budget Committee, not just because my husband chaired that committee, but because he did so independently with his own point of view, his own thoughts, his own voice. You cannot tell us to participate and then tell us that we're not being ourselves, because we are. Like I said, I came to the Board of Ed meeting. I did that because I want to be a part of this community. I've been here for 3 years. I am very interested in Plainfield. I'm interested in Plainfield's children, the schools, the process. Don't tell me, don't tell my peers, don't tell us that we're not coming from a place of interest. Don't tell us that we're not coming from our own interest, our own point of view, because we are. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more for privilege of the floor? Seeing none, can I have a motion to close privilege of the floor? Second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
I have one question. I have a question. I see the Director of Recreation is gone, so maybe the administration could answer this. I have been hearing from a lot of my constituents that you're planning to cancel the concert.
No, we're not planning to cancel the concert. We're planning to postpone the concert. It won't take place on July 4th, but it will take place later this season.
Why?
That's an interesting question. Well, first of all, 4th of July is a very long day where the concert starts with parade, staging, very early.
Well, we have had that concert.
Oh, I was saying it couldn't be done. We just decided to do it a different way this time. We'll still have the concert, but we're just not having it on the 4th. That's actually the only explanation I have.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
So moved. Wait, Councilman Lee.
Yeah, just say something. I appreciate all my colleagues for the budget. It's a good budget, I think. I've heard each of the principals in the administration. They will work very, very hard to make absolutely sure that we end up the year with a balanced budget. I respect each of them, Mr. Smiley, Mr. Ron West, and the CFO. And we're going to have a good year this year, a very good year, and at the end, we're going to work together. Thank you very much for coming out.
All those in favor?